Rain delay. Come here, Pops. Come here. Well, yeah, get ready to be on camera. Yeah, you got to be on camera. Oh, you're getting heavy. Okay.
Morning, Sheila.
Good morning. Here we are at All in Stitches. It's a nice, rainy, cold, dreary spring morning. We actually had 7/8 of an inch of rain at our place in the last 24 hours. That lake is coming up fast. As that snow melts, it's going to be really going crazy. So if you live anywhere near water, a stream, the ditches, whatever, be careful because there is already some flooding reported. So watch the weather, be careful. So what's the stitch today? I've been thinking a little bit about the fact that we are listed on the Best of Polson voting poll on that the leader is putting out in conjunction with the Daily Interlake. And it got me thinking about the store here. And we are under the category of established businesses over 25 years old. And while All in Stitches as that name hasn't been here for 25 years, there was a store here before that named Two Bobbins Full, run by Mary Sales. And then sometime in 98 or 99, Pat Binger bought the store and did some remodeling and revamping, and it became All in Stitches. And it's been here as that ever since. It's been through some changes through that time. Jerry Campbell was manager for a number of years, and I actually started here working part-time just very randomly in 2004 with Jerry. Came in one day with a project I was working on, had made some Christmas stockings, and I was using my serger to put them together. And they looked at them and they said, "You are quilting with a serger?" And I said, "Well, yeah, it makes a perfect 1/4-inch seam." And they said, "Well, we've got a thing or two to teach you." So that kind of started my adventure here at All in Stitches. Then in about 2006, I started working here part-time, just giving them a little relief on weekends and in the summer. Oh, you need down? You're going to go see your brother? Okay. And have been here part-time or full-time or whatever ever since. So from 2004 to 2010, I worked just kind of part-time. In 2010, I started working a little more regularly, usually about 3 or 4 days a week. At that point, Kathy Kling had taken over as manager, so I worked with Kathy. And then sometime during that time frame, Susan Brown took over as manager. Then in 4 years ago, Susan Brown decided to quit here and help her husband out in his business and really concentrate on her alterations business. So 4 years ago, I took over as manager. So I managed for 2 years, and then 2 years ago, right about this time, I think our closing date for the sale was like May 15th. I bought the business from Pat Binger and have been operating now as the manager, owner, jack of all trades since then. So we have been here a long time. We're a real fixture on Main Street. We appreciate all of those who have voted for us. If you haven't voted, go to Best of Polson and find us, and Jess will pop up a link afterwards so that you know exactly how to do that. But it's a great store. We're kind of a mainstay on Main Street. We're a gathering place. Pat's philosophy when she started the store was she wanted it to be a safe place for women to gather, or men. We have a few men quilters, but for people to gather, feel safe, feel in a comfortable, inviting environment, and come together, maybe not just to sew, but to socialize, to share, to exchange ideas, and support one another. We have a number of folks who through that time frame have lost spouses, have lost children, have lost grandchildren, and this is a safe place for them to come and overcome some of that grief by joining together with friends and sew and be in a non-threatening environment. So just appreciate all of you who have been regulars through those years. And that also brings me to a point. People are like, "Oh, it must be so awesome to own a quilt store. You must get to sew and quilt all the time." Well, that's not quite the truth. Actually, I have made 4 quilts so far this year. The first one that I brought in was a star quilt that I made, and when I held it up to be Googled over, a couple of people said, "Oh, that's really pretty. Who made that?" And I said, "Well, I made it." And "You made it?" It's just I just don't have that much time to sew anymore. But I have made 4 quilts so far this year. I made that quilt that probably will be on my husband's bed. Made a couple graduation quilts and a retirement quilt that are in the process and very close to being done. So I do have some time to sew. Usually my sewing actually happens at home. When I am sewing here at the store, it's typically to help the gals out with getting models made so we can have models of the projects. We've got a couple new models that have just been finished this week. I'm working on one of a new line of really cute children's fabric, making it in my old standby pattern, Afternoon Delight. It should be up for display sometime this week. But there's a lot more involved in having this store than greeting customers, being out here out front, sewing models or whatever. And some people say, "Oh, when the vendors come, that must be the best part of your job." And no, that actually is the most stressful part of my job. You have vendors come in with suitcases full of fabrics, and I have to decide not only what I'm going to buy, but how much of it I'm going to buy, what patterns are going to go with it. And they come in and lay out maybe 100, 150 samples of things, and sometimes 200, 250 samples of things. And I have to look at it and not just select what I might like. I mean, if I bought what I'd like, we'd have a whole wall full of Kaffe, and we'd have, Marcia Durst, and we'd probably have a little Tula Pink, and we would be totally in the modern direction. But that's not what you as my clientele want. So I really have to concentrate on what you want, what's going to be a good seller, what the tourists that come through in the summer are looking for. So it's a stressful part of the job. The big stressor of my job actually comes, we're going to wander back here to the back room, and this is for me the biggest stressor of my job. I am not a business person. Never have been, never have pretended to be a business person. So owning a business is kind of a stretch for me. When I bought the store, I'd been managing it for a couple of years and took over some systems that were in existence when I took over. Oh, and by the way, this is my husband, Pat, the other partner in this business. And this is Poppy's big brother, Murphy. Murphy doesn't get to come to the store as often because he's kind of old and deaf, and he's not quite as social as Poppy is. But every now and then he gets to come and spend a few minutes here. So let's wander in here to the back room. This place, it looks like a mess, and it typically is a mess because now Julie's been gone for a couple of weeks, so things have started to explode again. When Julie's here, she keeps it neat and orderly, but we kind of tend to, oh, there's an open space, let's fill it up. Julie's like, just because there's an open space doesn't mean something has to go on it. Well, to me, I guess that does. This is where the operation really takes place. This is my office. This is where I receive invoices, where I check emails, where I pay bills, where I try and file things, where I try and keep track of the ongoing business of this operation. This is the part of the business that I hate. I would much rather be out front, greeting customers, meeting customers, spending time visiting, spending time helping you pick out fabrics for your projects, looking at new samples, looking at new models. But this is an essential part of it. So if you can't find me out front, I may very likely be hiding back here in my little domain. So I don't know how many of you are interested in any of what we've shared today, but to me, it's all part of the business of what we do. We are a quilt store, but we're also a gathering place. We're a place for you to come and just feel comfortable, to come and share your creativeness, to come and glean creativeness from other people. We try to meet the needs of our customers. If you have a special order, let us know. Oftentimes we can order that for you. It may not be in right away because there's $250 order limits on my being able to place an order. If you see a fabric online, quite likely that fabric is already out and shipping. That means that I would have had to order it 6 months ago. So if you come in and say, "Oh, I saw this by so and so, can you order that?" If you've seen it online and I don't have it yet, chances are I probably can't get it. Sometimes we can track it down through other stores, and we're more than willing to do that. Just the other day, I needed some extra layer cakes and charm packs, and I called Plains to the little store over there, and she was more than happy to send me some charm packs and layer cakes so that I could fill some orders here. You know, we like to cooperate with the other stores, and I'm sure that they cooperate with us just the same. But for those of you that live in this area, for those of you that check us out online, just remember, all in stitches. So what's the stitch? Thanks for joining us. Bye.